After the installation of the engine, the upper part of the deck of the new yacht from Princess Yachts will be added. Princess Yachts currently employs over 3,000 people and produces around 300 boats and super yachts per year. The transport of the yacht itself is a combination of movement on the sea, rivers, and even roads. Heesen is considered one of the world leaders in the design, construction, and engineering of all aluminum yachts. At Heesen, the yachts are built entirely in-house. This combination of cutting-edge engineering and quality craftsmanship creates unique career opportunities. It takes several months to weld all parts of the super yacht hull. In the meantime, work is being done on the interior parts of the ship. The Balducci family founded Mangusta Yachts in 1985, located in Tuscany near Massa, Viareggio, and Pisa in Italy.
It usually takes 5 months to 1 year to produce one of these yachts. It is manufactured at the Bavaria Yachts factory in Germany. This company experienced a major crisis in 2018 and faced insolvency, but now everything is in order and the production of yachts can continue. The development of a new yacht begins with the engineers in the design and construction department. The choice of interior materials and fabrics is really wide. Everything is first designed by computer. Each Bavaria yacht has its own specific mold to which a strong coating of gel coat several millimeters thick is first applied in the spray room. Once the mold has left the spray room, the laminating of the hull can begin. Fiberglass mats that are typically used in the production of textiles are now cutted individually into exact patterns to match the model they are intended for. They then produce a lamination plan detailing the arrangement of the fiberglass mats in the mold and laminate it on in several work steps. A soft towel acid resin is used in the outer layers to achieve maximum quality. As soon as the resin has hardened, the hull is carefully removed from the mold. A computerized CNC milling machine then drills the boreholes to the exact millimeter for the outboard connections, as well as for the exact fitting to the deck and the precise milling of the windows in the hull. It provides highly effective protection against osmosis and ensures that the hull has a long life. In addition to the stable floor section, a solid main bulkhead laminated until the hull provides further rigidity later on. Before the deck shells can be glued to each other, all important elements are attached to the top and some wiring is connected. After this work is completed, the adhesive cement is sprayed on in a complex specialized process. Now the main assembly line begins. Before the deck shells can be glued to each other, all important elements are attached to the top and some wiring is connected. Each and every Bavaria yacht is unique and different. Teak decks are manufactured separately for each yacht and permanently glued to the deck in a vacuum process. In order to be able to automate all of these stages, Bavaria already developed its own high-tech system a number of years ago. Bavaria is one of the largest and most modern shipyards in the world for sailing yachts, motorboats, and cruising catamarans. Before further fittings can be installed in the hull and the deck connected to the hull, each sailing yard has its motor fitted. The motors are filled with all the fluids at the manufacturers to the required levels and tested there. And with the yacht's just-in-time production system, the motor is ready for fitting at the production line exactly when it is needed. Likewise, the optional bow thruster is installed and fitted at this stage in the production. From the tree trunk to the finished cabin, all of the wooden elements and the yachts are manufactured directly in the yacht's own joinery by its woodwork specialists. And when it comes to processing and finishing the wooden parts for a yacht, the state-of-the-art computerized machine sent robots in the joinery, always guaranteed consistently high quality with the interior finish. Already, when the various parts are being cut, care is taken to ensure that the wood grain in the walls, lockers and doors will all match each other later on. The ultra-modern milling machines guarantee that all of the wooden parts fit exactly to each other later on. Robots then sort out all the processed parts for further workmanship. The handrails and the edges of the lockers and tables are made of solid wood. After the parts have been cut, they are varnished 6 times in the yard's one dedicated varnishing facility, with the result that they all have high-quality, hard-wearing surfaces. At the end of this process, the finished teak, mahogany and oakwood cabins, galleys and bathrooms in the joinery are ready for fitting. And depending on the type of wood used, all of the other facings and elements are color-coded to match them. Here is where the boat builders really show their visual acumen and know-how in every single detail when it comes to the various types of wood used. At Bavaria, the yards are assembled on a total of 4 production lines. In this way, a new sailing yacht is created section by section on the lines. At each stage of the process, a separate team of specialists are responsible for the work. Each team is in charge of their own quality control, which guarantees consistently high quality. The components already made in the joinery are now fitted directly into the yard using a crane. The floor section added in advance ensures that each bulkhead fits in its allotted place to the exact millimeter. It even has a thickness of 30 millimeters in yards more than 45 feet long. This ensures that the hull and deck together have an extremely high level of additional stability later on. Doors not opening when sailing or floorboards creaking on the ocean, such things just do not happen. Quite a number of lines and cables are required to supply the water and power to a yacht. The engineers and production teams need to spend a lot of time and all of their experience to ensure that these complex systems are installed in such a way that servicing them later on is smooth and trouble-free. One of the most important moments in the construction of a yacht is when the finished deck is placed on the lower part. A great moment for the new sailing yard, but routine work for the shipbuilders at Bavaria. They fit the larger parts to each other perfectly to the exact millimeter. The deck and hull are glued to each other and then even screwed together. The hull and deck windows are then installed in the yacht. Extreme care has to be taken to ensure that the windows are completely glued to the deck across complete surface. Parallel to this, the canopy is installed in the saloon and the floorboards are added. At the Bavaria, they are set on a special framing system that is fitted to the floor section, which represents a real increase in quality of yard construction today. At the end of the production line, the keel is fitted. This is a further important moment as it requires highly precise workmanship and a lot of experience. Extremely strong keel bolts guarantee a false fits between the hull and keel. The yard uses twice as many keel bolts than normal in its yards. Yacht is only ready when a green flag is fluttering on the stern of the new yard at the end of the production line. This means that the quality control team have finished their work and not found fault with any aspect of the new boat. And the quality control team are extremely diligent, checking each and every detail precisely. If the controllers do find a flaw or defect, this is marked and immediately recorded in a comprehensive checklist. Even the most minimal of flaws are noted and rectified. The first contact of a water is in the yard's testing pool. Even large yards up to 56 feet and with the flotation depth of up to 4 meters can fit in the testing pool. This is what the first launching and testing of the boat looks like in the shipyard. As soon as the engineers, shipbuilders, and quality control team are satisfied with every single aspect, the new Bavaria Yacht is prepared for transports to the customer or dealer. Write in the comment section below the video what type of yacht you like the most and whether you would like to sail the sea with a boat from Bavaria Yacht. Most popular yacht from this company is Bavaria C57. There will be another video soon, so don't forget to subscribe.